Hi everybody, it is September 1st, 2020. My name is Tomasz Imielinski and I'm a professor of computer science at Rutgers University. I'll be teaching you what? Not art, no. That beautiful painting has been created by my wife. I cannot do this. Instead, I can teach databases, so that's what I'm gonna do. The title of the class, Principles of Information and Data Management Systems, otherwise known as 336. So today I'll tell you a little bit more about what is going to be covered and how you're going to be evaluated and about exams and everything else. So we'll talk about SQL, we'll talk about relational model of data, we'll follow with relational database design, database theory. Then we will transition to transaction processing, concurrency control, locking, serializability, and then transition to newer types of databases called polyglot database systems, just like key value systems, document stores, network databases, tree databases, column databases. There's a lot of them these days, and we'll spend some time on these systems as well as JSON, XML, different data formats for semi-structured data. Finally, we'll finish with text processing. We'll even learn TF-IDF, which is a technique used for searching text. So we'll follow the whole gamut of data, starting from tabular structured data, ending on completely unstructured text data. So this will probably give you a good overview of what different data management systems exist. If time permits, we'll even talk about Solr or Elasticsearch. So this is basically the material. Under normal circumstances, in a face-to-face classroom, we would spend more time on discussing the projects and competition of projects. I used to do these things a lot. This is gonna be practice in a little bit different form. Unfortunately, due to these circumstances that we have to do classes online. But we'll make the best out of it. And I'll be here. I'll do my best to assist you in this endeavor. So first of all, a little bit about which I'm sure everybody always wants to know first, which is how the class is going to be evaluated, how many exams are you going to have, and how it is going to be, how can you get an A, how can you get B, how to avoid failing the class, which I hope is not going to happen. Well, so let me give you a structure, very elaborate. I started to kind of split the class into the class credit into different categories. So we would like to put much less effort on exams. So there will be no midterm, there will be the final, but it will count only 14%. So 86% of the credit in this class you will earn during the semester. And it will be earned using through the homeworks, assignments. There will be 8 to 10 of them. That they will constitute 42% of the credit, entire credit. 24% is going to be earned through quizzes, which we will do every Tuesday in class. And these are going to be multiple choice quizzes. And yes, I've heard from my colleagues that a lot of times students complain, we couldn't connect in time, can I have a makeup, etc. So I want to make it simple. So there will be probably 12 quizzes, and we'll count only a subset of them, maybe 9 or maybe 8. At the end of the semester, if you're still missing some of the quizzes, we'll have a makeup quiz. You kind of a master of all quizzes at the end for those who are missing a few. So don't worry about it. Try to connect, but if you can't, we'll make up for this. So everybody will have the same chance. And in addition to this, there will be a project. There will be a programming project involving MySQL database. You will practice queries from simple to more complicated aggregated queries. using MySQL query browser and REST API, and the project it will be defined and posted on Sakai. So this is gonna be 20% of the value of the class. So just to repeat again, 14% final, and I'll talk about the final in a moment. 24% for homeworks, 42% for homeworks, 24% for quizzes, and 20% for the programming project. Well, that sounds fair. I mean, if you work hard during the whole class, there's absolutely no problem. I mean, you should get A or B, and you will, because you're motivated, right? So no problem. Now, more about how are we gonna interact. So Tuesdays, just like this Tuesday, except this Tuesday, we will meet on Zoom and we'll have a quiz and a little discussion. We'll see how it works. To be honest, I am a little concerned about 150 students and Zoom, but we'll see how this happens. I mean, classes, lectures will be recorded on PowerPoints and with my narration will be posted on Sakai. And quizzes will be about the past lectures. So quiz will have very simple multiple choice questions, basically checking whether you understood the material. If I notice that some questions most students have difficulties, we'll go over and repeat it again. Recitations will be handled in the same way. We'll focus on office hours and on the what I call customer support. So us being there for you to help you in your studies. So what I mean by this is, of course, you can email me. My email is on Sakai in the document posted there. My Rutgers email. Of course, we have to communicate on Rutgers. This is a new requirement, which I will obey, of course. So you will send me messages to my email account. One request, and this very important request, that you put 336 in a subject line of your email, because that way I can filter your email from multiple other emails which I'm getting, and believe me, I'm getting so much email from university that I would like to be able to pay attention to your emails, because this is the highest priority for me, to answer your emails. So I will filter them to a special folder, and I would like to be able to filter them effectively. So please help me in this and put 336 in your subject line. By the way, that's not a call for a donation to political campaign. It reminds me of one of the campaigns which is using a lot of threes. So 336 is not a text. It's not a phone number. It would be a very short one. It is a class number, and put it in a subject line of your email to Professor Imielinski. Then you will get an answer definitely within the same day, any day in fact, weekend or week, rain or shine, I will answer your question. I love answering emails, but 336 in a subject line, remember that. Okay, sounds good. Now, in terms of office hours, the way I want to handle office hours is, again, because of the online environment, I would like to be able to answer a lot of questions, or most of questions, through forum, which is going to be on Sakai. On that forum, you will be able to send a question to the whole teaching staff, which includes me, TAs, and possibly graders. So there's quite a bunch of people on the other end. Your question will be completely private. It will just go to the rest of us. We may later anonymously, of course, we will not mention you, post the question and the answer on Rutgers, on Sakai, under the folder of questions, so everybody can benefit from our answers. Now, in case you have deeper problem, it's not just one question, but you're struggling with understanding some material or something like that, or you need just to talk with a professor, you have some concerns, you have general questions, you want to ask about your future, how to get a job, anything, I will be there on Fridays at noon till 1:20 online in my Zoom homeroom, personal room, and the number is there on Sakai, and you're more than welcome to come over and chat with me. I love it. I love to help students. I love to talk about whatever is on your mind. So you can come to this office hours. You can also ask me, just in case you cannot make it. If possible, we can make a separate arrangements as well. So we will have this contact on Zoom, and we'll communicate. I have to mention, my background a little bit more because, yes, I am an academic. I'm a, full professor at computer science department. I've been there for many years, being a researcher, publishing papers, teaching graduate classes, teaching undergraduate classes. But I also spent around 10 years in industry in different roles. I've been founder of multiple startup companies. I worked as the chief scientist in one of the early search engines, Ask Jeeves or Ask.com. So I have a lot of industrial experience, which usually students appreciate. I mean, because I can tell you how it is in the real world, and I can tell you about job interviews. I can tell you many things which I've experienced myself. So we can talk during office hours. We can talk offline about this. So that brings me to the final exam, so-called final exam. So my final exam is a weird kind of exam. Weird in a good sense. I think that students like it. It's not usual kind of solve the 20 problems and get 60% of the points and spend 3 hours sweating those problems and then forget about all the problems and all the knowledge which you've learned like 6 days later. I mean, that's typically the model. My final exam is very different. I call it database interview. So this is a set of multiple choice questions which are taken from real interviews, job interviews, when people interview for a job in industry in databases. So just to give you an idea, the first question, which I always ask, and I will ask this year, is when do you need the database? So, and there will be multiple choices. Like one choice will be when I have a lot of data. And another choice will be when I have ad hoc queries, when I have a lot of queries. Yet another one will be I have concurrent transactions, and so on. And the good answer is not going to be when you have a lot of data. So no matter how many times I repeat, there is always someone in my class who will answer when I have a lot of data. So that's one of the paradoxes. You don't need a database necessarily when you have a lot of data. Often you don't need a database. And you may need a database when you have very little data. So that's paradoxically true. And because what is the database? Database is not just a collection of data. It's a whole software which is running a system, which is organizing it, which is answering queries, which is processing transactions, which is doing a lot of other things. And unless you have a need for this and you just have data, there is no need to learn or spend money on database management system. So this is going to be my first question. There are other questions which are very, very simple. Like, for example, given a data set, what would you select? Would you select a NoSQL database, which is one of the newer database types like Mongo or other key value stores, or would you select a relational database? What is the better choice? That's a natural question to ask during the interview. There are also simple questions like my favorite query, for example. My favorite query, which I test, if somebody tells me, I know SQL, say, oh, you know SQL? Okay. Write a query. Give me all students who do not take databases. Very simple. And believe it or not, even after this class, 25% students don't answer this question or the query correctly. Outside of the class, I had a lot of times someone coming, whether looking for a job in my company or the company I worked for, or taking a job from me, like an internship, and claiming that they know databases. And I would ask them, okay, write the query. Give me all students who do not take databases. And I'm not going to tell you now because you don't know anything about SQL yet. You will know very soon. But there is a very basic core error which students or people make. And that error discloses to me that you don't know SQL. You claim you know SQL, but you don't know it. And not only that you don't know SQL, but you haven't taken or haven't thought about logic a lot, because there's a lot of logic which is involved in SQL, and that logic, is taught in a different class, introduction to discrete structures. But I can certainly spend some time and teach you this logic here. So these are the questions in a final exam. Not a big deal. It's 14% of the grade. It's an hour long, and if you don't pass the database interview, then I'm not gonna fail you. I'm gonna, and I did it in the past. In some cases I exaggerated quite a bit, but you're gonna have another chance. You will have another interview. You will read more and come back, because I don't want you to parade after taking my class and not knowing when do you need a database, or not knowing how to write that famous query. I mean, you're representing my class and you're representing Rutgers University, and I don't want people to say, you took a Rutgers database class from Imielinski, okay, and you don't know how to answer this? Oh, come on, right? So that's the intention of the final exam, or a final quiz, or a final interview, whatever you call it. So that's all what you need to do. So let's just summarize it, right? Take the homeworks, answer all the questions, submit in time on Sakai. Participate in quizzes, answer quizzes about past classes. Programming project, that's a semester-long project. So maybe two, maybe there will be another project during the semester, but 20% is a programming. Less than usually, but significant. And 14% database interview. So I think that if you apply yourself, it's no-brainer. You're gonna pass it with flying colors, by the way. So welcome to the class. Good luck, and hope to see you online. Nevertheless, to see you. Bye.